Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Former President Calvin Coolidge said these words: "Because of what America is and what America has done, a firmer courage, a higher hope inspires the heart of all humanity." Amen. Good morning and God bless America. Here comes Kate Smith and God bless America on a Wednesday. Good morning. And a good morning to you and your family. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, some of our great advertisers, like Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them 734-6969. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Well, good. Give it to us, young man.
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And right now it's time for the weather, brought to you by K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hebron. I believe we're going to be talking to Roger tomorrow morning on our program. And they're open Monday through Friday, 7 to 5:30, Saturday, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. And boy, have they got everything. All the equipment, all the tools that you need, from forklifts all the way to lawnmowers. They've been in business since 1979. And they can help you. And they're also a Honda engine dealer. All the parts that you might need for your wheel lines. There you go, K&R Rental. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Looks like more sunshine for the rest of the week as we hit our midweek stride, and we are still in that red flag warning. It is in effect probably through the rest of the week, or at least until we get some sunshine and some moisture. But sunny skies for today. High of 92 is what we're looking at. Winds out of the northwest, anywhere from 5 to 10 miles an hour. Tonight, looking at clear skies, low of 57. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, high of 94, overnight low of 61. Then for Friday, sunny skies and 94. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Forgot to turn the microphone on. I'm sitting here talking to myself. K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hebron. Oh, yeah, I'm a sharp dude today, aren't I? The number to call, 678-3122. K&R Rental, with everything you need. And from, like I said, forklifts to lawn mowers and so much more. You be sure and stop over and see those good folks today. I'll leave the mic on for a while, I think. All right, good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch. And I just want to say that on this program, you'll hear great guests every day, and also something that we're never going to back up on: pride in the United States of America. I am proud to live in the number one, and if that offends somebody, you got a problem, not me, the number one country in the world. Thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Remember yesterday we talked about the group called Antifa? A bunch of rioting punks Well, it's a little bit more than that, and we're going to talk about it in just a minute. I appreciate your phone calls. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, they'll have your order waiting on the counter, is 678-0459. They open the doors at 7:30 in the morning, stay open till 5, Monday through Friday, and with the temperatures, they're not weakening. Man, I'm telling you, we've got a little weather pattern here that's going to last for more than just a couple of days. And it looks like we're going to have summertime this summer with highs in the mid-90s. And I suggest you make sure your air conditioning unit works efficiently to keep you cool. Check out all the air filters for your air conditioning unit at Ramsey Heating and Electric. 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Next week on Thursday, and I did not say tomorrow. I know I'm going to get some calls. I get calls every time we have Lunch Bunch. Is tomorrow Lunch Bunch? No, it's next week on the 20th. And Denny's Restaurant is our home at 611 North Overland in Burley, and also another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. And we get there and we have a great big gathering once a month, but I'll tell you what, you can stop in anytime, all the time, for delicious breakfast, lunch, dinner. Like I said, anytime, all the time. And what a menu. What nice people serving you at Denny's Restaurant. 611 North Overland and Burley. Yes, it is true. They are America's diner. All right, now it's your turn. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Yesterday on the program, we talked about, and we were one of the first ones to have this story on any radio in the United States, quite frankly, that there is a group called Antifa. I don't know where they came up with their name, but they've often embraced violent acts like rioting and breaking storefronts and beating political opponents on the streets with bats and billy clubs and brass knuckles. Yeah, seriously. And most every one of their actions has been a violent incident directed at conservatives and Republicans. Why I am telling you this is because I think it is now, at this point in our history, more important than ever for you and I, whether you're a teenager, whether you're a young adult, whether you're middle-aged, or whether you're old age, to be prepared. We have to be aware. And this group says that they're going to do, this is really key, they're going to do whatever it takes to shut us up and get rid of us, being the conservative and Republicans in our society. That ought to make you very wary. That ought to make you very worried about what these nutcases are going to do. Now, these are anarchists. That's it. They're pure punk anarchists. And they deserve and should get extremely harsh treatment from us and the authorities if they attack any one of us and or the authorities. Now, they hate the system that has given them everything. In a free capitalist system, these punks are allowed to thrive and prosper and get bigger and do more boasting and, quite frankly, prepare to do more damage. These are vermin. They're absolutely worthless. And quite frankly, I read this story about what their thoughts are. I read this story about what they want to do. And they had a paragraph here that says, confrontational and disruptive social movements have been the only thing which have helped defeat some of Trump's proposed policies, and they want to make it even worse. That, to me, almost is a call for civil war. That, to me, is a call for us to learn how to protect ourselves, and you're going to have to figure out how and with what measure. I don't like being threatened. I've had threats in the past, and I will address them first and foremost. You should not be threatened. But we now, I think, in our society, have to realize that there is a very dangerous left. And we have to protect ourselves and our family and our property. And we have to protect our values and our free speech. And everything else that goes along with being an American and living in the greatest country in the world. These subversives, these anarchists have got to go down. Maybe you're not concerned, but I am, after I saw and listened to some of the people that are spokespeople for this horrendous group called Antifa. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Let's not forget, while I'm waiting for your call, which means a lot to me this morning, give me a call. I want to talk to you about Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. We all get the aches and pains from maybe getting a little older or straining something or spraining something or trying to recoup from surgery. They can help. Boy, can they help. They've got a great team. That's what they are over there, a great team of physical therapists that absolutely know all the exercises. They know what's going to help you. They've got the only hydrotherapy pool in the area, and oh my, does that help. I swear by that. And they can help you get back to being you. All you have to do, it's simple. Call them at 678-1191. Make an appointment, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. They are good. I guarantee it. Also, our thanks go out to Autumn Haven. Oh, my goodness. What nice people. And they urge you and your family members to check them out and call or stop by and check out the only locally owned and operated assisted living facility in the Mini-Cassia area. And they want you to stop by. They want you to see everything. They want you to take a tour. They want you to talk to the other residents. They want you to be totally comfortable for your loved one to live there and enjoy. Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center, 924 Christian Way in Rupert. They're small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. And the number to call, 436-3200. That number again, 436-3200. All right, it's your turn. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What do you think about this state of affairs that's going on in our country today? I have talked to a lot of people all across the United States. And every day when I get off this program, I'm talking to people either in New York or I'm talking to people in L.A. or maybe Washington, D.C., all across the country. And they are really concerned that the violence level, the threats of violence, and the possible carrying out of that violence from the left, which is funded, and I'll just come right out and say it, I think all of their movements are funded by the anarchists that are led by people like the Soros Foundation and others. They want to destroy, take down, dismantle, and absolutely throw away the United States of America and what it stood for, what it is, what it does for other people, our Constitution. They want to just put this country into a tattered state of affairs. And only through our I would say our naivete and our lack of caring is it going to happen. And a lot of times we say, oh, it's just a bunch of punk kids. They'll all hopefully grow up and go away. No, I disagree. These are not just punk kids. These are punks, there's no doubt about it, but they're not just kids. They're being led by the nose by a concept and a thought that we are the bad guys in the scenario. We that believe in family values. We that are Christians. We that believe in our Constitution and how great this country is and should continue to be. We are their enemy. And unfortunately, they have vowed to come after us. I can see by the lack of calls that maybe this doesn't bother you, but it certainly does me. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Please, this is a topic that needs to be discussed because I don't care if it's here in Magic Valley, in Paul, Idaho, or Hanson, or over at Bliss, or wherever. It can happen anywhere, and it will. Let's not forget what's going on up at Oakley. Mighty fine folks up there, and they're going to be celebrating Oakley Pioneer Days starting this weekend. And some of the great merchants up there that say, come on over to Oakley, include Clark's for Shopping at 100 East Main Street in Oakley. And boy, the history, the heritage, and all the great people, Clark's for Shopping says, come on up. They've been in business since 1924, and they want you to appreciate Oakley Pioneer Days, along with Oakley Valley Stone. Oh my goodness, that is beautiful stone. I've got a slab of it out in back of my house, as a matter of fact. Oakley Valley Stone, wishing the people of Oakley a very happy and fun-filled 130th anniversary. And for all the fireplace stone, headstones, landscaping boulders, they've got it all at Oakley Valley Stone, 204 West Main Street in Oakley. And they urge you to attend Oakley Pioneer Days. My goodness, it starts this Friday and Saturday. And they're going to have, on Friday and Saturday, 2 big nights of the 9th annual Bump and Rub 4-cylinder car race. I remember I talked to Steve Staley the other day, and I said, now, wait a minute, with every rule and regulation for racing, I'm sure they'll be adhered to. And he said, yeah, maybe. Well, this should, and it has proven in the past to be pretty wild and woolly, and you don't want to miss it. That starts on Friday and Saturday at 6 p.m., and they're going to have team ropings, and they're going to have basketball tournaments, and they're going to have an open rodeo that's co-sanctioned with the IMPRA. They're going to have fireworks. I mean, come on, this is a really big event. Oakley Pioneer Days running all the way from July 14th through the 22nd with the theme, Our Pioneer Heritage, past, present, and future. All right, folks, come on, get on the line. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Let's hear what your thoughts are. Now, the new song, even though it's kind of an old verse from the previous song, in Washington, D.C., is that Donald Trump Jr. may have committed, treason. Yes, this is from, and I watched this guy on TV last night, and I find no reason to like this man, and that is the former vice president possible for the Democrats with Hillary, Tim Kaine. You know, this guy should really quit politics and become a full-time clown instead of just part-time. You know, the Dems fail to remember selectively all the dirt that Obama and Hillary and others tried to obtain, and they went to very, very private sources, individual sources around the globe, to dig up dirt on, of course, Donald Trump. And I was doing some checking, and I came across a story that was written by, and I got to get the name right here, Will Ricciardella. And he made a really kind of light of this whole thing about what's being done because, quite frankly, he made the inference that it's nothing different than what Barack Obama has done and his staff, and really nothing different than what Bill Clinton and Hillary have done with their staffs. But it's only because of the very, very liberal media that this thing's coming to a forefront. I made a mistake on the name, and I want to correct that. It wasn't Will Ricciardella. It was written by Peter Hasson. Thank you. I want to get the names right. We only deal with the facts. And he said, everybody is forgetting that Clinton allies did the very same things as supposedly Donald Jr. So, much ado about nothing. Nothing. Your calls, your thoughts are appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, give me a call. Hey, by the way, tomorrow at 9:15, we have a segment on our program called It's Time to Grow, and that's with my good friend Tony McCammon with the University of Idaho Horticulture Department. He is the head man over there, and what a job he does. I mean, man alive, I'm pretty impressed with him, and we urge you to tune in and listen and ask questions. He's going to be talking about lawn care in the heat of the summer. And it's hard to keep your lawns looking nice and green and looking like the Masters Golf Course in Georgia. So he's going to be on tomorrow morning at 9:15, and we thank him. University of Idaho, Tony McCammon, and it's time to grow tomorrow morning. While we are waiting for a phone call to break the ice and fall through, Wheels, how about a good word for the Silver State Stampede?
Nevada's oldest rodeo. The Silver State Stampede roars into Elko July 13th, 14th, and 15th for family entertainment at its best. This PRCA rodeo brings you the thrill of professional riders going head-to-head in one of the world's toughest sports, rodeo. The action kicks off Thursday with the annual kickoff party featuring mutton busting, Old West bronc riding, tri-tip dinner for just $10, and an extra dose of the world-famous Ring of Fear. Head into Friday and Saturday for PRCA rodeo action with the award-winning Wild Child Rodeo Clown, and dance the night away with the Jeff Palmer Band. So gather your friends and get your tickets today for the 2017 Silver State Stampede, July 13th through the 15th. And don't forget to wear your pink for Tough Enough to Wear Pink Night on Saturday. Family entertainment at its best with the 2017 Silver State Stampede at the Elko County Fairgrounds. You'll pay for the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge.
Oh, my goodness sakes, what is going on? Thank you. That is going to be a ripping good event down there in Elko, Nevada this weekend. I was so honored, and I've said this many times on my program, Caller, I'll be right there. I'm so honored to have announced that rodeo, I think almost 20 years. And excellent people down there, and they do know how to have fun at the Silver State Stampede. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do I get a prize for being first caller?
Yep. You get my huge thank yous, and you better be happy with it.
Oh, okay. I get those every day. So.
All right, buddy.
Yeah, the deal with Donald Jr., you know, he didn't make a mistake. And I've also heard, too, that lawyer gal that he met with was denied a visa.
Yeah.
She didn't even have authority or a right to be in the United States. How did she get here?
I don't know. Gee whiz golly, more intrigue.
Yeah. And also, too, that she was pictured with the guy from England that done those, that deal on Trump in Russia with all of the prostitutes that dug that up. She was pictured with him.
You know, Doug, you hear what we're talking about right now. We're going into a pit, you and I and a lot of people, of sleaze. And my attitude is such, and I said this to Deanne last night, I have had it, and I know you as a good Christian man, you've had it, with the absolute bottomless pit of sleaze that's going on in this country. I am much more concerned about that fat little pig over in North Korea, Kim Jong-un, that has missiles pointed at us. I am much more concerned about a treaty that Obama made with Iran that is absolutely dangerous and going to hurt us, the United States, in the long run. I am much more concerned about our economy. I'm much more concerned about groups like Antifa here in this country that want to wage war against you and I and people of their conservative values. I'm much more concerned about that than anything stupid about, who did Donald Trump Jr. talk to try to gain a little dirt on Hillary? You know, that just is like a great big stupid Inquirer magazine.
It is. It really is. And the senators and the congressmen that can go out and just spout off whatever they want to say that's not even factual.
Yeah.
I mean, how I don't know how they sleep at night.
Well, wait a minute. Stop for a second. And Wheels, watch over there, please. When you start throwing around treason, the word treason like that dipstick Tim Kaine did, you'd better check with people that really know, like constitutional scholars like Jonathan Turley and many others. And what exactly constitutes treason? Well, I will tell you. It is, in almost all cases, levying war against the United States and providing aid and comfort to the enemy. Boy, you got a tough hill to climb, Democrats, if you're going to prove that. Right, Dougie boy?
You got that right. That's what I say. They put it out there with no basis. It's just basically a flat-out lie. It is a lie. But the trouble is they put it out there. The low-information voter, the people that are brainwashed by CNN, MSNBC, and all those, that's the only place they get their information. That's what they hear. That's what they repeat. That's what they say, so that's what they believe.
And they're also banking, Doug, on the gullibility of the United States citizens, because most of their news sources that they can get in rural areas, etc., all are from NBC, MSNBC, or, ABC and CBS. And so their information they're provided is absolutely jaded in honesty.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And you know more than, or better than most of us out here, how many different companies control all of the news agencies?
Absolutely.
What is there, about 4?
You would like to know some of the people that have their fingers in the pie monetarily. I mean, there are businesses and people behind the scenes, and I have a list, and I can't get it at my fingertips right now, of some of the people that are helping sway the news and journalism, and it would knock your socks off to find out who some of these people are.
Exactly. And so basically, what we need to do is the public, we need to get informed by more than just one source.
Amen.
We need to go to several sources.
And check those sources.
Exactly.
Got to run, Doug. I got another.
Even go to the sources that talk the opposite way that we think.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll go to CNN now and then and just watch for a little bit, or I'll go MSNBC and watch just for a little bit, and I just shake my head.
Well, and that's why I've said on this program, Doug, and I've got another call I got to get to, but I've said on this program so many times, and you have heard me say this, that after diligent research on all the stories I present on this program, not only once, but twice, or possibly even 3 times to make sure they're validated, if anybody can prove that I've given misinformation, you call me, and by golly, I'll guarantee I'll apologize. But I haven't had any calls.
Exactly. And those anarchists, real quick, those people that want to wage war against conservatives, this is what you come up with when you do not teach history.
That's right.
They are basically taking pages out of Hitler's book on how to, and applying it to how they want it to come out. Think about it.
I cannot argue with what you're saying, because I point my finger at most of our national school system, and I point my finger and say, how dare you eradicate the teaching of what we were and what we did in the past, because without that knowledge, some of the pitfalls will be repeated.
If you don't learn from your past mistakes, you're going to make them over again.
Got to run, Doug. Thanks so much, buddy. I appreciate it. Thank you.
God bless. Take care of your seniors.
Yes, sir. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Oh, what a bakery. Oh, what a restaurant. And every Monday we give away a dozen cookies to Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Be listening at 8:30 next Monday morning for the chance to win a dozen delicious cookies from Sophie's Chatterbox. Caller, I appreciate your patience. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning, Zed. There's been historically a war to destroy this country's independence for basically 100 years. It goes back to after World War I. Well, it started earlier than that with the Federal Reserve, direct election of taxes, direct elected senators, tax-free foundations set up so people could protect their money. So our Senate wisely beat down the League of Nations because that was supposed to be the original United Nations. But of course, they got us into World War II, and everybody says we've got to have this United Nations. It's been run by communists ever since. Well, my point is that the attack that's going on is been coordinated by an elite few worldwide that want this new world order or world government with the United Nations. When you just mentioned education, well, guess where Common Core came from? Guess which communist is in charge of selecting refugees to come to Twin Falls? I mean, and these are the kind of things to destroy our culture, destroy our independence. And, the biggest thing is that we need to hold our elected officials at all levels to the U.S. Constitution. And just for example, Article 4, Section 4, Zeb, as you well know, says that we're to be protected against invasion.
That's right.
We're being invaded by Islam, by Muslims. And fortunately, Trump has slowed that down some, but it hasn't stopped. And so, this drive to make the United States into a third world country by under NAFTA, under all of these trade agreements and so forth. I was as you well know, on the NOAA NAFTA group in the 90s, and it was pushed through by the Republicans, of course, signed by Clinton. So it's been bipartisan treason, and just look what Congress is doing now. They're not doing anything to make sure we get rid of Obamacare, because it's bigger than just it's just a sinister movement. They control basically the heads of both parties, and it's a worldwide movement to basically create this new world order.
I agree with
going on for a century. It's not taught in the schools, of course. That wouldn't be politically correct.
I agree with everything you said, and
I know we talked about this before.
Absolutely. Hang on a second. Let me get a word in here, Adrian. I agree with everything you said, and I just wish more people would, whether they agree with the conversation that we're having now or not, at least take the time to look, study, and read and understand for themselves that there is a changing and an evolving movement in this country that is not in favor of what our forefathers lived and died for, and especially not in favor of our Constitution. That alone should make these people back up wide-eyed and say, wait a minute, we had better start changing things with our education system. We'd better start changing things and teaching these kids about what happened in the past so that many of the pitfalls don't happen in the future. Instead of blindly going on every day in a naive attitude saying, oh, well, it'll heal itself. It will not. It's going to get worse.
Well, thanks to programs like yourself and dedication of the patriots like yourself throughout the country. But what I'm, really most all of the nasty stuff that's coming down to us through our federal government, whether it's education or whatever, gun control, it's all coming out of the United Nations.
Yep.
And H.R. 193, if it was passed, would get the United Nations, us out of the United Nations. It would move the United Nations to another country, because it's been our enemy from day one, and these elitists are using it. I mean, these diplomats have a diplomatic immunity. We can't touch them. They can haul whatever they want to out of this country in their pouches, and they've been doing it since 1945. It's a wonder our country still is a country.
I got to run, Adrian. I appreciate it. I got to run.
It just keeps going on.
I got to run and get a commercial in, but I do appreciate your thoughts and concepts because they are factual. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it. God bless.
Get that call, get those emails over to our congressmen and your friends around the country, because we can get out of the UN by passing H.R. 193. It would stop a lot of our problems.
I agree.
And put our congressmen on record and senators that they uphold the U.S. Constitution totally, not just part of it.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate your call. God bless. Have a great day. Appreciate it. More calls are welcome at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call, really, he's right, and he's been right on a lot of these subjects that we've had on this program over the many, many years. We were talking about green energy years ago. He was right. We were talking about how the encroachment of the government taking away our rights. He was right. We've talked about this. And yet people that I run into on the street, they'll come up to me and they'll kind of have a little snicker on their face and they'll say, "Oh, you're just one of those right-wing activists, aren't you?" No, I'm not. I can see and I can understand and I read and I watch and I listen as to what we're losing. And then you can absolutely come up to the bottom line and say, holy smokes, somebody, including myself, has got to do something. Barry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts, and they do have all the equipment to get the job done right. And they've got locations on South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West and Twin, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Oh, they've got all the Bobcat excavators, all shapes and sizes, new and used, and I need to get one. I got a whole bunch of work to do over here. And they've also got all the Walker mowers, 0% interest for 48 months. You can mow like the pros do. All of this and more at Barry Equipment and Rental in South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West and Twin, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Wheels, before I take this call, how is everything on the line this morning? We had trouble yesterday, and I want to know how it is, please.
There is some buzz in the background. We might have to reconnect.
You let me know, and during the weather forecast, I'll reestablish that line. You understand? I'll call you back. During the weather. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes.
Well, we've heard a lot of good comments this morning, and I was just listening real carefully. But, the people on the left now are going crazy. And the fake news people, they're out of their minds because Donald Trump Jr. is just telling it like it is. And they can't deal with the truth. They got to put a spin on it. And they haven't been able to do that yet.
I agree with that. And it's going to get worse before it gets better because this administration has been under attack by the left because they're sore losers. They've never learned how to say, gee, we lost, we'll try harder and try to make our party better, try to make our platform better. They can't do that because they're not smart enough, and that's the bottom line.
It's certainly true, but boy, I can imagine what Mika and Joe are worried about right now. What are we going to talk about?
Yeah.
This guy is telling the truth. And I believe he is. He's told us everything that happened there. And what more can they build out of this?
Well,
this story ought to be kept alive or we can't keep going. That's their thoughts on it.
Now, I really could care less about Mika and Joe at MSNBC. I really do not give even an instant of thought as to what their thoughts are during the course of a day, nor do I really care. Keith, I got to get a weather forecast on here, my friend. Good points this morning as always. Thank you so much. All right, buddy. Hey, listen, we're going to do the weather, and the weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and the lovely Dr. Christine Pickup, the person that knows all about hearing, and she can help you if you've noticed a hearing loss. It might be due to some medicines you're taking, or maybe some health problem, any number of things, and I urge you to take a hearing screening. No, it's not going to hurt. No, it's not going to cause you a lot of trauma. I thought it was a lot of fun, really, and we went over it, and she helped me a lot with the loss of hearing in my right ear. I thank her, and you will too. They're the only locally owned and independent hearing healthcare practice in southern Idaho, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and the number to call, 312-0957. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to have Gina come in with the weather, and then I'm going to call Wheels right back. Be ready, Wheels, to rehook it right now. Go ahead, Gina.
Hello, sir.
Get me on.
Yes, sir.
7 tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, high of 94, overnight low of 61. Then for Friday, sunny skies and 94. That is your weather for Zev at the Ranch.
And thank you very much. And the weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And the number to call, 312-0957, right across from the Minidoka Hospital Emergency Room. Mount Harrison Audiology. Wheels, how's this line coming through? Better?
Oh, yeah, that sounds
all right,
great.
Don't let it ever get to the point where it starts to be fuzzy without letting me know, buddy. I appreciate it. All right.
Sir.
Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Another story that really sickened me yesterday, and unfortunately this is a part of another movement in this country by the liberal left to come in and destroy business, come in and destroy the atmosphere and environment of families enjoying a lunch, families eating together. What happened was this. In Florida, a group of these absolutely twisted, nutty animal activists, they dressed up as chickens. And they went into a Chick-fil-A in Florida, and they took red packets of phony blood. And the chickens laid down on the floor, and they poured the blood all over them. And then they had some of these twisted nut jobs go in there, and some of them had real 18-inch butcher knives. And the general public was scared to death at this Chick-fil-A, and parents were gathering up their kids and running out the door, and that's what these kooks and crackpots want. They want to see these people leave the business, and I don't blame the parents. My goodness sakes, they didn't know if these were terrorists that were going to cause physical mayhem or what, but they had these goofy nuts laying on the floor, pouring blood all over them, and then they had others standing there in that chicken costumes with these real butcher knives, and all of this to stop and or hurt the business of Chick-fil-A. Now, I don't care if it's a hamburger place. I don't care if it's a Chick-fil-A. I don't care what kind of a place it is. These people are kooks, and they're going to resort to anything to try to damage and hurt businesses. This is another case of I wish. I wish the protesters that they would have protested the wrong group, and that the group would have provided the influence to the protesters to change their minds immediately. Do you get my drift on this? These kinds of people, these kinds of groups are not going to stop their insidious ways by just somebody getting on a cell phone and saying, 911, send the police. Well, look, these people are nuts here. They're coming out with knives and everything. Yeah, and then wait for the police. This has to be dealt with. These crazy kooks that are organized and paid for by the left to come in and disrupt and destroy businesses have got to be stopped. It could happen to the Chick-fil-A in the Magic Valley. It could happen to any, like I said, hamburger stand, any restaurant that they deem they don't like what they serve, so they're going to go in and protest and try to totally wreck their business. These people, these vermin, absolutely have to be stopped. Your thoughts. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Can you imagine the kids? And I really, honestly, my heart goes out to the moms and dads and the kids. There's little kids and they're just enjoying a meal with their mom and dad, and they're so impressionable, and they really ask a lot of questions. They don't know what's going on. And then you've got these crackpots coming in, and there were quite a few of them, and laying on the floor with a chicken costume and pouring blood all over them, and then others standing there with butcher knives in their hands. This has got to scare the bejeebers out of these little kids. I don't blame the parents for being upset. And then somebody said, well, we called the police, and they waited a few minutes, and then before the police got there, excuse me, they left. Oh, they walked out of there and they thought, oh, we're so proud. We just spoiled everybody's lunch. Isn't that a great thing? How pathetic. Ag Express is looking for drivers, and they're looking for full and part-time positions. Retired folks are welcome, and they'll work around your schedule, whatever works best for you. You're home every night. That's the key thing, man. That's the most important, I think. Home every night, using new and maintained equipment, great vacation schedules, and benefit programs. I'm telling you, they're working hard for you. Ag Express, they urge you to call Dale and Paul at 438-8886, Allen in Twin Falls, 731-2495, and Chad and Burley at 670-7219. Ag Express is looking for drivers. Ag Express is looking for you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I go back. I don't apologize. I go back to this story with Chick-fil-A, and I'm chuckling because I'm just thinking that if a rodeo had been in town, okay, and let's just say there was about a half a dozen or so bulldoggers in there, either up in the slack on a particular afternoon or up in the performance on a certain evening, and they were enjoying a Chick-fil-A dinner with their children, their wives, and friends, and these crackpots came in there. I would say this in very subdued language, that it would be a welcome sight to see these big burly bulldoggers maybe give these animal rights kooks a personality adjustment. That would be worth the price of admission. Calls are welcome. And somebody's out there saying, are you advocating violence? And in this case, I would say, yep, I sure am. Okay, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. They want you to get where you're going this summer safely, with the best in tires, the best in different tread designs, all the tires for your cars, pickups, SUVs, camp trailers, horse trailers, everything. All you have to do is just stop in there to any one of the 7 locations, and they can and will help you. Honestly, they all know tires. I mean, man, they know what the tread design is going to be like from maybe if you're driving down the interstate and then you're going to do some off-roading to get back into a campsite or whatever. They know. They're really, really sharp about tires. The best. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Nobody better. Your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. You stop in and see them today. All right, I got time for one more call. Give me a jingle and make me feel good. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Quick story. As you know, about a week ago, de Blasio, mayor of New York, he missed a ceremony that was going to be honoring the policewoman that was shot. He found it much more serving of his time to fly on a plane over to Hamburg, Germany, and line up with the protesters, which I thought was absolutely ridiculously stupid. Well, yesterday they had the funeral for this policewoman, and de Blasio was there for that, but... And I salute the officers that did this. The police officers that were there were many, I don't know how many thousand were there. But many of them turned their backs on the mayor during his comments. And you know what? I salute them for courage. I really do. I know they're probably going to be reprimanded by their peers, but you know something? When you have a mayor that has the combined sense of a box of rocks, and he would rather join with protesters and militants than he would salute someone in his city that gave her life serving the city, I think I'd turn my back too. And Bill de Blasio also turned something else. my stomach. We're going to take a little break and take care of the CBS News coming up next. And then at 9:06, we have our dear friend from Indianapolis, Indiana, Dave Bigo, on the air. And then a very interesting conversation at 9:30 with Craig Richardson regarding green energy and how lying and cheating those people really are. And then at 10:06 this morning, the incredible Bulk. And that's, of course, Kelton Hatch with the Idaho Fishing Game. All of this and more. You stay tuned. Zeb at the Ranch. Thanks for listening. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Good morning, and away we go. Hour number 2 on this Wednesday, July the 12th already. Whoa, where did the summer go, or this year for matter? Holy mackerel. Hey, don't forget, restoring the pride in the greatest country in the world, America. Zeb at the Ranch with me, Zeb Bell, and our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, including Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Waste Services, and I'll tell you what, you better get on the route service today. They really are good. Once a week, you can hear that big truck coming up to the front of your driveway. Whoop, there goes that swooping big arm to pick up that trash container, and it dumps it in the back, and they're off. They're out of there with a wave and a hi-oh silver. There goes Western Waste. They are absolutely always at your disposal. Call, get on the route service today, 734-6969. Western Waste Services. Don't forget, on Mondays, we have the lovely Miss Vicky of Vicky's Country Gardens. Oh, she is something special. I really enjoy visiting with her. And at Vicky's Country Garden at 185 South, 600 West of Paul, we have a program on 9:15 on Monday mornings called Gardening for Idiots. It's like I chuckle. It's named after me, but I'm learning a lot about gardening. She's helping me. They've got all your bark and rock and your decor items for the outside of sprucing up your home, and they've got all your rose bushes, everything over at Vicky's Country Garden in Paul. Number to call, 438-5663. In just a moment, a dear friend of ours, Dave Bigo, on the program. But first and foremost, I want to make a reminder to you. Don't leave your dogs or your animals and pets in a hot parked car. You know, roll the windows down. Make sure it's maybe parked underneath a tree if it's absolutely imperable that you park that vehicle in the shade someplace to take care of while your pets are in there. Maybe you had to run to the grocery store. You couldn't leave your pet at home, whatever, but make sure they are safe. But don't leave them in hot cars, windows rolled up. My goodness, don't do that. It's against the law, too. Ark Animal Hospital, 750 21st Street in Hayburn, 678-1177. They have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Dr. Bill and the whole crew, excellent people. Mixed animal practice, meaning big or small. They love them all at Ark Animal Hospital, 678-1177. Right now, with all that said, let's get on the phone line and go all the way back to Indianapolis, Indiana, and say good morning to a very, very good friend. Dave Bigo, how are you?
I'm doing great, Zeb. How are you doing this morning?
Well, I have a little bit of concern in my voice, and my cubbies looked like terrible personified at the latter part of the first half of the season, and they are now 5.5 games behind the Brewers, and I'm not so sure that repeat is going to be a good word to say to the Cubbies.
Yeah, I think I'd hold on to that for a while and see what happens. Maybe they'll get over their egos and after the All-Star break here and come back hard. You never know.
I used to pitch a little bit in baseball, and the object of a pitcher is to throw something up to the plate that may not be desirable or hittable for the hitter to take it out of the park. And as of late, before the All-Star break, it almost looked like they were saying, "Sir, what would you like to bang into the parking lot?"
Yeah, it's tough when you have pitchers like that. I pitched for a while too, and I was a catcher too, and I played center field all in college, and yeah, I understand. But sometimes you never know. It's like when I was in college, first half of one of our seasons, it was terrible, and we finally got everybody on board, and the last half of the season we did great. So keep your hopes up.
Well, 5.5 games is not insurmountable, but when you play like they have played, like it's the Keystone Cops the last couple of games, it does make a fan, well, it reminds me too much of what they normally play like, except for last year.
Well, like I say, keep your hopes up.
Hey, listen, Dave, I got to ask you, and this is such an exacerbated problem right now by the Democrats. They will not let this Russian story die. I mean, they are heck bent on collusion. They are heck bent now with the likes of former possible Vice President Tim Kaine. Like I said earlier, he should quit politics and become a full-time clown. Calling Donald Trump Jr. now a treasonist, and he's guilty of committing treason. They don't even understand what the word is.
Well, that's exactly right, and Trump hasn't done a good job of exposing them for what they are, and, I still think the tweets hurt him more than they help him, and I know a lot of people think it's his way around the media, but I think you got to come out and you got to expose them and challenge them. Where are you getting this information? Show us proof that this information is true, and, and all this stuff going on. There is no, and I think this is an important point, Zeb, there is no proof or indication that this came directly from the Kremlin or Putin or anybody else, from any of the Russian government. This just came from people that had been, done work with government companies that were involved with the government and stuff like that. There's been no ties directly to the Russian government.
Okay, now let's break this down a little bit. Collusion. You are a very sharp man, a great businessman, an author, etc. When you take the word collusion and you say that the Trump administration, may have done this, that, or the other, they may have tried to obtain information, they may have said they would do this, etc. That's what the Democrats are basing the word collusion on. But now I stop and I say, Mr. Dave Bigo, what is the difference in the terminology of collusion when you have a former president, Barack Hussein Obama, on a stage with another Russian, the president, and saying words like, and thinking the mic is off, tell Vladimir I'll have more flexibility after the election. Now, which one bears the most weight of collusion?
Well, obviously Obama, and these are the type of things that the Trump administration needs to point out and use against the press and everybody else. And, things that we did when the SEIU attacked us in the press and that, I mean, we got to the point with the press that, they wouldn't say anything to us anymore. They wouldn't talk to us. And they quit putting stuff in the paper because they knew we would expose them, and we'd find a way to get the information out to the public. And but we, again, Zeb, and I have to emphasize this, we did it in a professional way. We didn't go out calling people names or attacking them personally or anything like this. We stuck to the facts, and we proved what we were saying was true.
I can't argue your point at all. As a matter of fact, I admire you for it. But you have to admit that the way things are going in this country right now, you can't blame some of the right, some of the conservatives, for just wondering where in the world they're going to get hit in the back of the head with next, a 2x4, a baseball bat. It just seems like the left is out there in vast numbers that are doing all they can to terribly take apart our society, like that group Antifa. that is now vowing itself, and it's not a small group, it's all across the country, vowing itself that they are going to hate the system and use violence to get rid of conservative thought. That is a very scary attitude, my dear friend.
Well, it is, and this is what we're facing in this country because, we have not done a good job over the years of controlling our immigration. We have not done a good job of controlling our education. We're letting people be brainwashed by very far left liberal professors and that, and the whole time the conservatives have not had the backbone to stand up and expose it and stop it. And it's time. I mean, we're come to that point. Again, Zeb, and I'll go back to my book. It's like Christmas, the book Christmas Story. Ralphie's getting beat up by the guy in school all the time, the bully. And finally, one day, around Christmas time, out in the parking lot where it's snowing like hell, excuse my language, he gets tired of it, and one punch, he puts the bully down, and it's over with.
Yeah.
And you have to stand up to these people, because when you do, they'll tend to back down and crawl under their rocks.
That's the whole point, though, Dave. We're on a tightrope right now. We being the conservatives and the Christians and the Republicans in this country. And the reason I say that is they, the left, have painted us into a corner or put us on a tightrope to where they can do whatever they want. They can go after us. They can attack us. They can act like anarchists, and they can burn and they can loot. But if we fight back, oh my goodness, the media comes out and they already have the conservative right down as the perpetrator. We're in a no-win situation.
No, I think they can win. I think they got to get in front of the press and confront the press and, each in their individual states or areas, wherever it may be, and Trump with the national news and that, and expose them because there are people like your programs around the country and Fox News and others that will expose some of this stuff, and they don't want to be exposed like that. And but it has to be a joint effort. We just can't have a few people around the country do it. We got to have the Conservative Party join together and understand this is what's going on, and confront these people and expose their lies.
I agree. Another sad state of affairs is in New York City. This so-called mayor, Bill de Blasio, has absolutely, this guy went down and scraped the green stuff off the bottom of the barrel. That's how low he is. And a week ago, when the assassination of that policewoman, that New York police officer, it was so sad, mother of three, and instead of attending the ceremonies of giving credit to this officer and all she'd done, de Blasio skips out and he goes over to Hamburg, Germany, and joins the protesters. And yesterday at the funeral service, Bill de Blasio got up to speak, and literally hundreds of New York City police officers turned their back on him. Now, they probably will be reprimanded, but you know what? I don't blame them one bit. I'm glad they showed protest against a very disgusting mayor.
Oh, absolutely. And he's a typical example of what the far left is and what they're all about and what they do. It's do as I say, not as I do. If it was the other way around, and somebody he really wanted to be with, he'd have stayed and been at the funeral and done or wouldn't have gone over to Europe and all that kind of stuff. But it's all about his agenda and it's all about their agenda. And these are the things that you got exposed to them. Is that they talk all the time about, we need to take care of people and we need to give them this, we need to do that, we need to feel for them and all that kind of stuff. But when it really comes down to actions, they speak louder than words, and this is what America needs to wake up and think about.
Another example of absolute pathetic attitudes in this country. And I don't know if you followed this or not. Some people just kind of looked at it and maybe smiled and said, oh, well, they'll go away. Well, they're not going away, and they're getting more forceful across the country. And these are the sick animal rights groups that will do anything and stop anything and are almost coming to the point of harming people. What happened in Florida yesterday or the day before was that a group of these animal rights activists, they dressed up as chickens, and during the noon hour lunch time, they went into a Chick-fil-A in Florida, and they laid down on the floor and had others of their ilk pour fake blood all over them. And some of these protesters were carrying 18-inch butcher knives, and they stood at the doors, and it was just absolutely a scary, horrendous things for families, moms and dads with their little kids. And this has got to stop. I said earlier, and I'll maintain it, I wish that a bunch of great big rodeo bulldoggers would have been in there, and they would have taken care of the animal rights activists. No time allowed at all.
Well, you're exactly right. It's sad that you have people like this, and Chick-fil-A needs to go after them and expose them again. I mean, you can't step back. You too many times companies that, and I go back to my book, The Devil at Our Doorstep. Majority of businessmen across the country signed the SEIU's neutrality agreement so they could force unionize people in the cleaning industry. And I even talk about a guy in my book who read my first one, The Devil at My Doorstep. He says, Dave, if they would have attacked me and I had to sign that, I would have given in because I psychologically and financially couldn't put up with it. And he says, more psychologically than anything, he says, most business people and people in this country don't have the backbone to stand up to these people. And we have to develop the backbone.
Okay, Dave, I don't mean to pin you down on this, but I need to get more definitive. I mean, when you say have the backbone to put them down, honestly, these kind of protesters that are absolutely scaring the daylights out of little children, and these kids are so naive at that age, they didn't know what was going on, and it scared them. They were crying, they were screaming, etc. What do we do to get rid of these people? It's not just Chick-fil-A. It's going to be anybody and everybody that they deem they don't want in business, and they're going to go in and use these scare tactics. What do you do?
Well, these companies need to be ready for this. They got to have their management ready, and they got to be there filming this stuff and taking pictures of it and recording it, and they got to be sending it out to other news services that will actually display this stuff, and they got to be talking to their customers about it. And even, they may even have to do some advertising about it to wake up people to what's really going on and put these people in their place, because this is what it's all about. I mean, again, we had the same thing with, people coming into buildings that we cleaned and going in and shutting down the buildings because they blocked the doors and they shut down the lobbies and, had bad signs and everything else, and were chanting stuff and all that. And you have to expose these people for who they really are. And most of these people, they go out and do this stuff, but when you really call them on the carpet, they don't have the backbone either.
This is interesting because you have had the confrontations with these lowlifes that have tried to dismantle and disrupt your business. How did you keep your cool as the entrepreneur businessman and address this situation and hopefully get it stopped? I mean, my goodness, I don't think I could have been as cool as you were.
I just have learned over the years that, playing, I played high school and college sports and that, and there was times when you had to use a little more physical force and times when you had to be more professional and use agility, and, you just had to, I've learned to when the right time to do the right thing is.
Yeah, well, I admire you for it. Speaking of doing the right thing, good heavens, the Democrats just can't seem to learn. It looks like Barack Obama and Hillary are out on the stump creating a whole pot full of money for 2018 and denigrating Trump and denigrating all conservatives and Republicans because they, the Democrats, they're going to take control next year. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, that's what they do, and I think it'll be interesting to see where it goes, and we'll see more as the next year goes by. But I think they're going to have a lot of problems because I think the people in this country are smarter than what we give them credit for, and they look at people like Hillary and that, and then they realize that's not the right way for this country. So I think you can go out and stump all you want, try and raise all the money you want, but if you don't have the right people involved, I think it's going to hurt you in the end.
I agree. I want to end this conversation this morning. I don't know if you had a chance to watch the Major League Home Run Derby preceding the All-Star Game. It was on Monday night. But I've been a baseball nut all my life. And again, I thank you publicly on the air for your great wall hangings of my Cubs and their victorious season last year. But when I saw that Aaron Judge from New York Yankees in that home run derby and the effortless motion that he had to hit over 47 home runs in that derby to win the title, one of which they did not count because it got drilled into the ceiling of the Miami Marlins baseball coliseum. Holy cow, can that kid hit a baseball?
I didn't get a chance to see it, but I wish I could have. But that's pretty amazing, and you have to give him credit and hope he has a good future in front of him.
Oh, he's a nice kid too. Imagine this, Bigo, 6'7", 280 pounds, and possibly the best outfielder the Yankees have athletically, a hitter that has already hit 30 home runs, and this kid's a nice kid. He's 25 years old, and he's not jaded. I mean, wow, what a future.
Well, and that's the thing that we have to point out, is these are the type of people we want in this country, whatever business or, sports they're in. We want good people that go out and work hard and use their abilities to do the right things, but they're also, when they're not on the diamond or in the office, they're good people, and they treat people right, and they don't try and tear this country down.
Author and good friend, very good friend. Oh, by the way, I wanted to tell you real quick, I've only got 15 seconds. I had Mr. Borden on with the game, right on, did a wonderful job. The game was a lot of fun. We highlighted that, and thank you for all you sent me. I really appreciate it, Dave Bigo in Indianapolis, Indiana. God bless you, man. Thanks.
Well, thank you for having him on. He told me he did. He said he was nervous as heck, though.
Well, he did a good job, I'll tell you that. Very good job. Thanks, Dave. Talk to you next week.
All right. Have a good weekend.
Thank you very much. Nice man right there. Author of The Devil at My Doorstep, The Devil at Our Doorstep, business entrepreneur Dave Bigo. Hey, Wheels, how about a good word for the Silver State Stampede?
Nevada's oldest rodeo. The Silver State Stampede roars into Elko July 13th, 14th, and 15th for family entertainment at its best. This PRCA rodeo brings you the thrill of professional riders going head-to-head in one of the world's toughest sports, rodeo. The action kicks off Thursday with the annual kickoff party featuring mutton busting, Old West bronc riding, tri-tip dinner for just $10, and an extra dose of the world-famous Ring of Fear. Head into Friday and Saturday for PRCA rodeo action with the award-winning Wild Child Rodeo Clown and dance the night away with the Jeff Palmer Band. So gather your friends and get your tickets today for the 2017 Silver State Stampede, July 13th through the 15th. And don't forget to wear your pink for Tough Enough to Wear Pink Night on Saturday. Family entertainment at its best with the 2017 Silver State Stampede at the Elko County Fairgrounds. You'll pay for the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge.
There you go. Thank you. Outstanding event coming up this weekend. Silver State Stampede. By the way, I want to say thank you very much to Hanson Mortuary, Joel Heward, and his family and the staff. Really nice, caring people at 710 6th Street in Rupert. And I've said this so many times, but there's nothing that is more devastating and just kind of puts everything on hold as the passing of a loved one. You don't know what to do. You don't know what has to be done in a short time frame. They can help, and they will help at Hanson Mortuary. All you need to do is call the number 436-5636, and they always uphold the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please remember their address and their number, Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, 436-5636. Want to remind you, too, the Great Big Idaho Rodeo Hall of Fame banquet and something special this year is coming up on the 28th and 29th. And here's what it is. We're going to be at the Canyon Crest Events Center in Twin. Friday night is a Tough Enough to Wear pink night, and a percentage of the proceeds go to the breast cancer awareness at St. Luke's Foundation. It's a $10 entry fee, and it's from 5 to 8 p.m. Oh, are we going to have fun? You better come on in. And Saturday night, the 29th, Hall of Fame induction, 5 p.m. social hour, dinner at 6, and then the induction ceremonies with, of course, 11 times, 3 times all around, 8 times world champion in the tie-down, Dean Oliver, one of our featured inductees. And we'd like to say thank you to D.L. Evans Banks around the state of Idaho. They've been phenomenal in helping us this year, along with Tech Distributors, your Coors representative. Wow. Great people helping with the Idaho Rodeo Hall of Fame. Tickets at Canyon Crest available. Call Katie at 733-9392. We're going to have our next guest on the phone momentarily, but first of all, I've got to remind everybody about having fun outside this summer, and I know a place where the fun is sold. Yeah, right there. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. They've got all the watercraft over there for you to get on and have fun in the lakes and the rivers. Oh, my! And all the four-wheelers and the side-by-sides. Man, I'm telling you, it's true. They've got a showroom just chock full of fun. Stop over. They've got all the accessories and a super service department at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. It's true. This is where the fun is sold. And over in that area, also the professionals in the insurance business, and I'm talking about Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Listen, we all kind of put this on the back burner, and we should not. We should make that one of our first things to take care of about life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more, with the professionals that are dedicated and responsive to your needs. Who are they? Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Number to call, 436-4424. You call them today. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and I believe we've had this man on in our program here in the past, about maybe 2 or 3 times before, and we say a good morning to Craig Richardson. How are you, sir?
Great, Deb. How have you been?
Not too bad. Craig, tell us a little bit about who you're with, what you do, what's a day in the life of Craig Richardson like. Give us just a little thumbnail sketch.
Well, I can start by saying that we are knee-deep in the swamp here, Zeb. We're inside the Beltway in Washington, D.C. The group I run is called the Energy and Environment Legal Institute. We are a legal and watchdog group. We, under the previous Obama administration, we used the Freedom of Information Act to expose the level of collusion that existed between the billionaires like Steyer and then the front groups that they support, like the Sierra Club, and then those that they had put in place in the government to put Soviet-style communist plans like the Clean Power Plan and other things forward. So, in a little bit of a transition now that we have a president who supports energy production in America, that understands we need to have clean environment, but believes, as the Administrator Pruitt does, you can have a healthy, clean environment, which the United States does, as well as having energy production. And so we've continue to support that agenda, as well as continue to do some of our investigatory work in some of the states like New York, where they've got an AG out there who doesn't like dissent, so he's just trying to use RICO statutes to put people in jail that happen to dissent against him. So never a dull moment, Zeb. You know how it is in the fight.
You know, I like you, and I like your attitude because it's very straightforward and blunt, the same way I am. And I'm just going to come right out and say that for all the gullibility and the naivete of the United States citizenry, just buying in, not all of us, but many, buying in to these climate activists that stand there and they shrill their voices and say, we're all going to burn up. We all got to do something about climate change and global warming. This is a big a hoax as has ever been perpetrated anywhere in the world, including our own local rag, the Times News newspaper. When are people going to wake up, smell the coffee, and really start reading the facts about what is happening and what isn't happening, Craig?
Well, I think we're getting there, but as you know, as an independent outlet yourself, it's a pretty big stream to swim up against. I mean, you've got a corporate media that's completely bought in, and so your local rag bear is probably doing it because it means if they didn't, they would lose the advertising dollars, and whoever owns them would tell them to, straighten up or get out. So there's lots of pressures there where the main communications channel, whether it's CNN or whatever God knows people get, they're all in on this, and they're getting it in the schools. As you know, they're indoctrinating kids starting at 5, and we don't allow various religious symbols in schools, but we can essentially worship Mother Earth, and so it's a integrated effort that hasn't happened overnight. It's been a 40 or 50 year plan that people like the Rockefellers have put in place, and it's actually shocking to me that as many people are waking up to it as they are, and thank God for the internet and shows like yours.
The thing is, Craig, and I don't have to tell you this because you deal in this every day. It was only about 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, that I received a report that had a complete list of the falsification of temperatures that were taken around the earth. And because the climate activists didn't like these temperatures that were found and how they were not really rising, they were actually going down, they falsified the records so that their cause would look better. They are a bunch of liars and charlatans. Is that too broad a statement?
No, they're all in on this, and they know. That's why whenever you try to challenge them on the science, the first thing they say is another bogus report. Well, 97% of the scientists agree, so you must be a Neanderthal. And I've seen that study, and it's just bogus. Bad information on top of bad information. And the other thing that offends me is science is what it is, and we are where we are in America in terms of our technology because we had a robust scientific debate. Science has never settled. Science is a procedure. We wouldn't have the theory of relativity if Einstein wasn't challenged and predecessors to him. That's how science is formed. People say, here's my idea, here's my thesis, and then somebody else says, no, that's wrong, here's why, and we couldn't replicate it. There are principles in place to ensure that science gets it right, and those are out the window when it comes to these clowns because they know the science is on the other side, and so they have to falsify data. We've seen that, NOAA and other ones actually pull some information down from their sites because it didn't fit the narrative.
And right there is why I really appreciate your being on my program, to expose these people for what they are. They are also thugs and punks with their attitude about, like, billionaire Tom Steyer, threatening the Daily Caller with legal action if it did not remove a quote from a story. Please tell us about that.
Well, yeah, I had written an op-ed. Those of you who know who Mr. Steyer is, he's one of these billionaire green energy guy who made most of his money in coal-fired power plants and then became a born-again renewable energy guy as soon as his buddies got a hold of the White House and the EPA and the Department of Energy so he could get a ton of money in the renewable grants field. He, by the way, continues to have coal-fired power plant investments overseas, but in America, he's all in on wind and solar, right? And so he was going after Trump on this whole Russia thing, and so I penned an op-ed for the Daily Caller that said, well, Mr. Steyer might want to look at his own Russian connections because he's had high-level meetings and negotiations with Russian oil oligarchs. And I said, what's good for the goose, I guess, isn't good for the gander in this case. And so he took offense to that, and he's done this before to my other colleagues, but he had some lawyer pen a 5 or 6 page threatening letter saying that he was going to sue us for libel and everything else, and it was defamation. And so my response was, well, let's bring it on, Mr. Steyer, and then we have something called discovery in America, and I'd love to get a hold of your records if I may, and I'm happy to defend myself under the First Amendment in this country, and let's have at it.
Okay, but right there, you did what others should do. You had the pugnacious effort to look him in the eye or call him and say, okay, buddy, bring it on. I'll be on the corner at 5 o'clock. I'll expect you to be there also. Kind of a Matt Dillon meet the bad guy on the main street of Dodge City. But most people will run and cower from these people because they're afraid of the big money behind them. Isn't that the truth?
Yeah, there's no question about it. And these guys, and you've mentioned sort of the imagery of a thug or bully. I mean, if you remember the schoolyard days, the bully used to get away with it until somebody actually had the fortitude to step up and punch him in the mouth. And once you did that, you found that the person was not that tough anymore. And I think that's what has to happen here is people have to be willing to stand up. These guys have so many mercenaries like their environmental groups that they fund to do their dirty work. They don't like to get their hands dirty. They don't like it. Steyer looked like a moron when we put this report out 2 years ago, linking him to basically buying the climate change plank of the Democratic platform, and he was expecting to go on this national news show to show that how great he was in terms of saving the environment. And the woman from, I think it was CNBC, held up our report and said, "Well, can you tell us about how you're the number one spender in elections for in the last 2 election cycles?" And his response was priceless. He said, "Well, I actually think there's too much money in politics." And then he went off on the Citizens United thing about how it's terrible with all this money. Here's a guy who has the number one most amount of money for 2 election cycles in a row, complaining that there's too much money in this process.
Explain.
So he doesn't handle. These guys don't play defense very well, I found, because they've had mouthpieces with the New York Times and the CNN and all the world. And when you do challenge them, their entire arguments are based on a house of cards, and they come crumbling down.
Craig, you're really good with explaining different scenarios. Would you explain to my audience and me how these people like Tom Steyer and many others justify the extreme costs of green energy, the costs that are not going to be reimbursed to the point where it's even a break-even energy? How do they justify telling the American public this is the wave of the future?
Well, I think, I had a friend of mine recently say, kind of gave that mantra about, we got to worry about the 1%ers, which is a crazy line anyway. It came out of Occupy Wall Street. And I said to him, you know what? I don't worry about the 1%ers. I worry about the 0.0001%ers. That's who I worry about. And there's a very small clique of those guys. Steyer is one of them. George Soros is another one. The Rockefellers have been at this game for over 100 years. Warren Buffett. I mean, you can go down the list. And when you get to look at who these people are, Hewlett and Packard, of the HP fame, these guys have various sets of philosophies that are very contrary to America. First and foremost, they're all about control, centralized control, and they've used that with healthcare and energy affects everybody's life. There's an element of population control within these people. They just think that they're better than everybody. That's the bottom line. They just think that things should be controlled, and they should control all the world's resources, and they know better. And that's a hard thing to overcome, and that's a hard thing for Americans to, this country built on independence and self-determination. It's hard for them to think that there's actually been these people, like in the Wizard of Oz, the men behind the green curtain. But they are there. They are there. They exist, and they have been steering and prodding and pushing us. I mean, Americans don't like socialism and communism. Well, what do we have for a federal government now? How did that happen?
Yeah.
Backdoor communism, backdoor socialism that's been happening for 50 years or longer.
But Craig, this problem is not just somebody like Tom Steyer versus you or the Daily Caller. It's also permeated like a cancer into our school systems with the professors and down to the high school ranks with the biology teachers and everything else. This thing is just turned into a leftist warping of the minds from school on up through university. How do we change that?
Well, I mean, I think you hit schools first and foremost. I mean, I made a decision with my own kids that I didn't want them to go in the public school, so I put them in private Catholic school. That's not everybody's option. Homeschooling is another option. Virginia is one of the largest per capita homeschooler states in the country. I'm sure Idaho is too. I mean, you have to take control locally, and everybody works, and some of them have 2 jobs, and they're like, don't defer to the local school system. And then in terms of local school systems are supposed to be run by the localities. We're not supposed to have federal curriculums. We're not supposed to have federal mandates for coming from there shouldn't even be a Department of Education. Historically in America, local governments have run education. And, take the time, leave your house and go out on a Wednesday night and go run for the school board. and start, because let me tell you this stuff comes in nationally, and then they get local sounding groups, and they're pushing it, whether it's Agenda 21 or Sustainable Bill. I mean, they have all these buzzwords that I can pick up, but I'm in this field. And you got to get people at the local level in Idaho to say, we don't want that crap in our curriculum. Sorry, once you go over to California, they'll probably accept it. But you have to take control back of your local communities. It's going to start at the local level, because I'm going to tell you, trying to fight Washington and Capitol Hill is a tough battle. But you got to start locally, and you got to throw these guys out at the local level.
I agree. Craig, looking ahead as if you had a crystal ball on your desk right now, and you look ahead to 2018, and the Democrats with Schumer, and they're employing, of course, Barack Obama and Hillary to go out and create a lot of funding and everything. Have you heard anything about a platform? Have you heard anything about what they want to do to problemize the energy situation in this country? I mean, what are you hearing about a potential platform that they are going to try to promote in 2018?
I don't think it's any different than in 16, 14, 12, 10, 8. It's centralized command and control. It's single-payer health care. It's clean power plan. It's, we embarrassed the world by getting out of Paris, and this guy Trump doesn't know what he's doing. He's a lunatic. And they obviously have the corporate media on board on this Russia thing. They're trying to distract him as much as they possibly can. They don't have an agenda. Well, they do have an agenda. They're socialists. That's their agenda. And they're going to try to package it however you can put a lipstick on a pig. And, unfortunately, they have, as I said, they've got control of the corporate media. And they're going to say, but I think in the end, if this last election should have showed them one thing, it showed that Americans aren't buying it. Despite all the advantages they had, despite all of the incumbencies and the fact that they had the media behind them, people rejected that. And then if they get somebody like Elizabeth Warren or somebody in 2020 as their standing bearer, I mean, can you imagine a worse choice for them? I mean, talk about not getting it. They reelected Nancy Pelosi. It's like, at what point do they not get the fact that Americans are tired of these old limousine liberals? They don't want them anymore.
Yeah. Craig, would it be safe in assuming from my desk to yours that I doubt seriously you're going to be inviting Tom Steyer to lunch anytime soon?
Well, I'll tell you what, I won't mind finding the lunch if I get to pick the place and he picks up the tab. He's got more money than I do. I think good Tom and I would have a lot to talk about, I think.
I would like to be the mouse in the corner, I'll tell you that. Craig Richardson with the Energy and Environmental Legal Institute. You're the best, man. I appreciate you. God bless. Come back soon.
Great, thanks, Deb. God bless. Anytime. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. I really enjoy that fella, and I hope he comes back many more times in the future. And, he's got the attitude that I'd like. Billionaire Tom Steyer threatened him with a lawsuit, and he said, bring it on. And Steyer put his tail between his legs and ran away. I think that is phenomenal. That's what we all need to do with the bullies in our society today. Oh, that was refreshing. Made me feel good. Now let's go to the weather, brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. They've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. The very best of tax return preparation, tax planning, bookkeeping services, retirement planning, etc. They know and they can help you. And believe me, they've got two locations to serve you, 1710 Overland and Burley and 620 Fifth Street in Rupert. The best. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Looks like more sunshine for the rest of the week as we hit our midweek stride, and we are still in that red flag morning. It is in effect probably through the rest of the week, or at least until we get some sunshine and some moisture. But sunny skies for today. High of 92 is what we're looking at. Winds out of the northwest, anywhere from 5 to 10 miles an hour. Tonight, looking at clear skies, low of 57. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, high of 94. Overnight low of 61. Then for Friday, sunny skies and 94. That is your weather for Zev at the Ranch.
And thank you, Gina. Brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. The best of CPA services to you and your business and your family. You be sure and get a hold of them today. Offices in Burley and Rupert. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Would somebody tell me yesterday, Deanna and I noticed this, and did anybody else notice all the jets flying overhead yesterday? All the jets that were in many times circular patterns. I'm not talking itty-bitty jets. I'm talking larger jets that were at one point yesterday at about 5:30. 4 in a row flew over my head and headed in the similar direction of the Twin Falls Airport. But these were all day long. There were jets in the sky over our head, and I don't know what kind of jets they were. They didn't look like commercial jets, which leads me to think, naturally, the opposite. But what was the occasion? What was going on that there? Did anybody else notice the jet traffic at relatively low altitudes here yesterday in the Magic Valley? If you did, call me. If you know something about it, let me know. I'd sure appreciate it. We have a happy anniversary today to 2 wonderful people, and that's Larry and Barbara Mathieson. They are wonderful people. They live in Twin Falls, and just the nicest folks, and we wish them a very happy anniversary today. Right now, I would love to have some more calls, and while I am waiting for your call, come on, it just takes a second to go deet, hit the numbers and give me a call. I'd appreciate it. Don't forget, Ag Express is looking for drivers. That's right, full and part-time positions. Retired folks, listen up. They'll work around your schedule 2 or 3 days a week, whatever works best for you. And you're home every night, and they've got great vacation schedules and benefit programs, 401k plans. Oh my, you better call them today. I've got the numbers. Call Dale and Paul at 438-8886. Alan in Twin Falls, 731-2495. And Chad in Burley at 670-7219. Ag Express is looking for drivers. Ag Express is looking for you. Give them a call right now. All right, your turn. Time to give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I'd like to visit with you. Hillary Clinton, you know, I wish she would just fade away into total obscurity. I don't like the woman. I never cared for Hillary in anything she did, said, or tried to promote. And now she is out selling T-shirts for Planned Parenthood. The proceeds to go to Planned Parenthood. The left absolutely cannot exist a day without helping promote Planned Parenthood. And you know what the T-shirts say on the front? Really a high-class statement. Nasty women. Nasty women. Now, here is a past presidential-seeking person, and she shows the extremely low class that she has had ever since Arkansas, and she's out promoting T-shirts for Planned Parenthood with the front of them saying, nasty women. How many of the ladies in my audience would really want to support Planned Parenthood with a T-shirt that you're supposed to wear proudly that say, nasty women? I mean, I scratch my head as to the idiocy, incompetency, and the total lack of respect for society that Hillary and the left have. They are stupid. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. You know, I go back to what I asked Craig about a few moments ago. You know, I wonder what the platform, what any kind of a platform is that the left, the Democrats, are going to try to hammer together for 2018. What in the world are they going to put together? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I'm surprised that T-shirt don't say Murder Incorporated.
Yeah. Yeah, it's disgusting to me, Jerry.
You know, an organization that's there to murder little babies, mutilate them, tear them apart limb by limb, torture them as horribly and the worst way they possibly could. It just makes me sick. Anybody would toot their horn.
Yeah.
What a sick, horrible, sick bunch of people that support this organization.
I think you kind of summed it up with about 3 or 4 6, and you're 100% right on that. Really, what would you think of your wife wearing a T-shirt around town in Rupert that said "nasty women"? How low class can you get?
My wife would not wear anything similar, close to, or imitating in any way something like that.
I agree totally. Jerry, I thank you for your call. I got another one calling in. Thank you, sir.
You bet. You have a great day. May the Lord bless.
All right, buddy. Quickly, caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, any woman I know would never wear a shirt like that.
Did you see that on TV?
I did. And people put Trump down for not acting presidential.
Yeah.
I mean, but yet they hold her up to higher standards because it's not, just lost the words there.
Well, no, you don't have to have a loss of words. You know what it takes to describe and explain what the left is? Just shake your head and absolutely bow your chin down to your chest and utter a prayer, because these people are insane. These people have no values. These people have no morals. Why in the world would you promote a T-shirt for Planned Parenthood that says "nasty women"? And what kind of respect can be generated to the woman herself that wears something so stupid?
Well, look at the woman that come up with that saying.
Bingo.
That's who that would associate with, so that's who that would make you basically bed partners with,
Let's not even use that term. I'd cut my arm off first. Thank you very much, Doug.
Well, the Democrat Party, I think we're going to need to get a new term for them. It's called the factless party.
Well, they have no reason. They have no rhyme. They don't have any platform. They're a party that's adrift in an ocean of absolute stupidity. I cannot be nice to them. I will not be nice to them because they are not nice to the morality of this country. Would you agree?
I would agree. And for them to succeed with their evil, and that's what it is evil. It is not in a godly way at all. It is evil. And for them to succeed is for the good to do nothing.
Absolutely. Got to run. I got to get a commercial in here real fast, buddy. Thank you. Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center, 924 Christian Way in Rupert. They are the only locally owned and operated assisted living facility in the Mini-Cache area, and they urge you to stop by and visit and tour the facility. For the potentiality of having your loved one there, they would love you to ask questions and visit and check out their beautiful patio in the backyard. They really care. And I urge you to call the number, 436-3200. They're small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. Please stop by and visit today. Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center, 924 Christian Way in Rupert. We're going to take a break, run to the news. Well, in my case, I'm going to walk slowly. And we'll be back in a couple of minutes with the Fish and Game Report. The incredible bulk is walking through the door. Wheels, take it away.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
And thank you for coming back with us the last half hour. And we've got Kelton Hatch on with the Idaho Fish and Game. In just a moment, we'll finish up our conversation. But I want to remind everybody about the Idaho Rodeo Hall of Fame, July 28th and 29th at the Canyon Crest Event Center. Call Katie and get your tickets now, 733-9392. Friday night, the 28th, Tough Enough to Wear Pink Night. Oh, we're going to have all kinds of door prizes, all kinds of fun, and a percentage of the proceeds goes to breast cancer awareness with St. Luke's Foundation. $10 entry fee. Come on down. It's going to be great, and Coors Tech Distributing really helping us sponsor that first evening. And on Saturday night, the 29th, Hall of Fame induction, 5 p.m. social hour, dinner at 6. Tickets $25. $25, honoring the rodeo legends. And it's going to be great at the Canyon Crest Event Center, 733-9392. And our big thank you goes out to D.L. Evans Banks for all of their sponsorship to help promote the Idaho Rodeo Hall of Fame for 2017. With us is the man that now has devoted his life to coming up and writing taglines.
Be nice.
Okay,
nice.
I'll be nice. We're going to talk about walleye bits. What's a walleye bit?
You see, you're not being nice. I'm done talking. You're on your own, Zeb.
All right.
No, the walleye bite is on.
I see, they're biting.
The water's finally warmed up. Everybody was complaining about it earlier because we really missed that earlier bite.
Or bit.
You know, I got a bit of a bite one day.
A bit of a bite.
A bit of a bite early on. And just wanted people to know that both Oakley and Salmon are reporting really good bites right now.
The water was really kind of negative because it was so high and really running fast, wasn't it?
Yes.
What are you looking at?
Well, I was trying to find anything. There's something.
All of a sudden, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you in the audience that aren't watching this on the internet with the cameras, he had a very vague blank, which is normal, but worse than normal, look on his face. What were you thinking of?
Well, this is hot off the press.
Hot off the what's hot off the press?
Lake Cleveland.
Yes.
Is opening Thursday at noon.
You had here still work on Lake Cleveland. You meant still working on?
And
it's hot off the press.
That's why you was jabbering on earlier. I texted to find out whether it was what was going to happen because I had it on there. I knew that they was working on it. We've had 3 or 4 phone
What does
calls.
that mean?
The road hasn't been open. The snowdrift was still in the road. And so, snow, that white stuff we had this winter.
Angel dandruff.
Yeah, it blocked the road. They will have it open, they're hoping, by Thursday at 12 p.m.
Isn't it amazing, honestly, when you think about that? Here we are sitting here in mid-90s to almost century mark temperature readings on the thermometer, and you're talking about, well, the road's not open because the snow's so deep.
Yeah. I mean, we had a pile of snow up there.
Is there still a lot of snow around the area up there?
All I know is there was a big drift that people couldn't get through. And so I'm guessing there's a big pile of snow right in that area. I don't know about, I just drove up through there and I was over in Sublette the other day, and there's still a lot of snow on the north-facing slopes up high. None of the roads are plugged that I could see over there. There is a lot of roads that are washed out right now, though. I mean, if you're looking at hunting up north, Bounds Creek down by Big Smoky in Unit 43, the road's washed out for 8 miles.
8 miles?
8 miles. It may take them 3 to 5 years, 3 years to rebuild it.
That's all because of the creek runoff.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Yeah, I mean,
goodness.
it blew
8 miles.
8 miles. And I mean, a river runs through it. It runs down the road.
Yeah.
And it's washed 8 foot of material from the road away, 8+ feet, and it's like the bottom of the stream bed now. And so I don't know whether they're going to. I don't know how they're going to be able to. I guess the EIS, the environmental impact statement, because we've got endangered bull trout up in that section. I don't know how they're even going to reconstruct the road with the Endangered Species Act. And so what that plugs off is that road that goes from Fairfield basically to Featherville Pine. The South Fork of the Boise Road loops. There's a dirt road that loops around back there from Big Smoky over to Featherville.
Yeah.
And that's closed. Warm Springs Road coming out of Sun Valley up to Dollarhide Summit. Bridge washed out up there. It's not going to be open this fall.
Help me, I'm a little bit lost there. Are you talking about that back road that takes you into the backside of Atlanta?
No. Where you turn off there to go to Atlanta, you can go up to Baumgardner Campground, the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
So you can, when you hit Pine Featherville, you follow the road up.
Yeah, but I'm talking the backside coming into Atlanta.
No, this is coming in from basically the Sun Valley side, Fairfield side.
Gotcha.
There's a road. It's the South Fork of the Boise River from Baumgardner, about 11 miles upstream from Baumgardner, all the way to Big Smoky. The road's out.
Really?
And so it closes a lot of country that people like to hunt in there.
Yeah. Or go up and just enjoy.
Just go up. Well, you can't do the loop anymore.
Yeah.
Because now if you want to get over there, you have to go clear around up through Fairfield. Or if you want to go to Sun Valley can't get over there because they have to go clear around to Fairfield too. So Fairfield's going to be getting more traffic this year if people want to hunt, the big smoky drainage. But there's other roads. There's several roads over there outside of Ketchum that have washed out. So people kind of need to be looking at this before hunting season and kind of making new plans. I think it was Deer Creek, they said, had blown out up high.
So there's 3 to 5 years if they even fix it at all.
Well, they've got some money coming in from, what is that? I forget what, when you have catastrophic danger, damage.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it. It's federal. FEMA.
I'll help you anytime I can.
They did get some FEMA money, but I don't know. It's going to take a day or two, and several of the campgrounds are blown out down there by Pine and Featherville. The campgrounds were washed out. They got in the middle of the stream.
Has that ever happened before?
We had a blowout on this road 2 years ago down by Baumgardner that never got fit. Well, it happened last year, and people couldn't go through there last year, but the Forest Service was going to have it fixed this year. Then this other big blowout happened, and so it doesn't matter if they fix their part because it's going to take a while to get things. And the thing is when you look at a lot of those mountain roads and they're following a stream, we put these roads were put in areas that the stream had been at one time, and those whole bottoms of those canyons are just a stream bed, and the stream decides where it wants to run that year, depending on how high the water is, how
high is the water, Mama?
3 feet high and rising, and I think it looks like they're like 8 foot high and rising in a couple places.
So you're gonna make the announcement that Lake Cleveland will be open
Thursday at 12 p.m. is what they said.
Okay.
And so I might call over there, but that's what they're saying. The gates open at 12 p.m. on Thursday.
Very good. Now, let's talk a little bit about fishing, and we're going to go back up to Kokanee, and you say the fishing is great.
Great. Perfect. Okay. Well, you see, you take things so absolute. I'm just trying to put little words down there.
Little adjectives?
Just to help me remind me what I want to talk about.
I see. It doesn't take much.
You take them for gospel. I mean, it's like the gospel according to
Kelton Hatch
right here. And so
there's one you will not see in the new revised King James.
No, you won't. But the kokanee fishing, 3 buddies were up there the other day, 65 fish. Averaging.
And they were only supposed to have 30.
There's a 25 fish limit.
Per person?
Because the reason, and people go, why would you do that with kokanee?
Yeah.
Well, because they're very prolific.
Means a lot of them.
They have lots of offspring.
I love how you say, you could not spell stackable, but you could say prolific.
I can say all those words, I just can't spell them. I'm a person of spell check, and if it's they don't have the
button wore out.
Yeah, the button wore out. But it's spelled correctly. It's just the wrong word. And so you're making me sweat, Zeb. Quit it.
Yeah, we got a lot of bits and stackables here.
But no, the fishing's really good. The fish are good size. They're 12 to 14 inch.
Really?
Kokanee, and so. Right now is the time to get up there and go fishing for them.
Up there, where's the best?
Anderson Ranch Reservoir.
Really?
And
that's a nice place to go.
It is. And the reason we have such a high limit is because they are prolific, like I said, and they have lots of offspring, and they're landlocked, and if you get too many fish in that population, they stunt their growth, and then you're catching... See, there's a lot of places I've lived... Well, when we lived in Montana, it was a 50 fish a day limit.
Really?
But the thing is the kokanee were 6 to 8 inches.
Oh.
And their goal was, and they're awesome, they're delicious. I mean, we'd go out there and catch, we'd usually smoke about 600 fish a year. And then you just take the meat out. Delicious salmon, the kokanee salmon, just excellent meat. But it's nice to have these bigger fish like this.
And now you said they're, 14, 16 inches?
Yeah.
And weighing about...
12 to 16 inches.
Weighing about what?
Oh, I don't know, pound and a half.
Really? That sounds like fun catching, too.
Yeah, they are. And a lot of people use downriggers on them because they're typically deeper.
Yeah.
And troll troll for them, but they've been doing pretty good in some of the bays at a little shallower level. No, this is kind of this is an all-out sport. There's people that come from all over to catch these kokanee.
Really?
And so it's a good time to get up there and have some fun.
And I want to stress to everybody that he did spell kokanee correct.
I did.
You did. I'm proud of you. We're going to talk about more, but right now it's time for our weather, and our weather is brought to you this hour by Don Scarrow and the crew at Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Oh, my. Go to their website, scarrowmeats.com. Check out all the delicious retail meats they have over there, especially like the breakfast sausage and the bratwurst. I love bratwurst. Nothing better to watch a baseball game than with a bratwurst. And, of course, all the new innovative ideas like the buckboard bacon, leaner and more economical than traditional bacon. You're going to love it. All the meats at Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Looks like more sunshine for the rest of the week as we hit our midweek stride, and we are still in that red flag warning. It is in effect probably through the rest of the week, or at least until we get some sunshine and some moisture. But sunny skies for today. High of 92 is what we're looking at. Winds out of the northwest, anywhere from 5 to 10 miles an hour. Tonight, looking at clear skies, low of 57. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, high of 94. Overnight low of 61. Then for Friday, sunny skies and 94. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. Oh, Don, bring me some bratwurst. That sounds so good. Scarrow's Meats. Don Scarrow and his whole crew, excellent people, 331 North Road, Jerome. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Now, here's what we're going to learn, class. We're going to learn how you...
Be nice. Be nice.
No, I'm not going to teach that today. We're going to learn how to stack streams on top of each other, because he's got his next headline as streams are coming down to a stackable level. Let's learn about this. Raise your hand, Johnny.
It's an O. It's stockable.
It says A to me.
I know, but you're blind in one eye and can't see out the other. Rock Creek should be stocked this week, and so all the ponds over there, like Trapper Creek and all of these other local streams in the hills, we finally got down so that when you drop the fish in here, they don't end up in the Snake River an hour later.
Let me ask you, way back in there, trying to think where's the best, you know where it is, were those little, right next to the...
I don't.
Gravel,
little... I'm just teasing you.
You are.
Go on.
I'm trying to finish my point. And the last I looked, I pay the rent on this program. Way back in there, about 15, 20 miles, there's those little ponds back in there next to the road. There's usually a lot of moose or deer right around in there, and I can't think of the area name. Do you ever go back and stock those?
I don't know which little pond. I'm sorry. Because there's a lot of ponds.
Never mind.
Are we down at, like... The Wagon Wheel Springs? The ones going towards Rogerson?
No, it's further back over to the east. Anyway, I've always seen elk.
Trout Creek?
Yeah, fairly close to that. I'm trying to think of the name. And
we usually don't take them on the backside.
Okay.
There's some naturally occurring fish back there in Goose Creek and Trout Creek.
I see.
And things like that are kind
naturally
of fun.
Occurring.
Yeah, in other words, they proliferate on their own.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're taking notes, you better mark this day down, July 12th, as the day that you were really impressed with Kelton Hatch.
Well, I didn't know how. Tell me how you'd say it without using the word
whole
proliferate.
Bunch of fish back there.
Tell me how you'd say proliferate without...
I would say they've had a happy family life.
Okay. Okay, you can do that. I was just trying to be PC since we're on the radio.
There we go. Don't be on this program. But anyway, streams are now being able to be stocked.
And so get ready. The water's finally down low enough. It was running. It's all the snow. Again, all the snow. Yeah. And it's been coming out of the hills so fast. They've actually had another big surge of water coming down in the Big Wood. It's probably going to be a few more weeks until we can stock anything up in there, just because...
This is really late in the year for you, too, isn't it?
A month.
Yeah.
One nice thing for lake fishermen and people that like ponds, all the fish that should have been going into these other mountain streams have been going into area lakes, because we've got these fish planned out years in advance.
Yeah.
And so the fish that are being stocked right now were hatched, 6 months ago. 8 months ago, and they've been feeding them. And we know about how long it takes them to get to X amount of inches, and so when they get that size, they eat a lot more feed. We don't have money in our budget to keep feeding them and making them bigger and bigger and bigger. So we just have to stock them when they hit a certain size. And so we've been kicking a lot of these ponds to Hagerman and Riley ponds and to the Filer ponds and to the Osters and down to Durkee's and these different ponds. We've had several stockings over there in Albion at the Castle Rock State Park, and so those ponds have been doing really good. But now, if you're into the stream fishing, it's your turn here in the next few weeks.
Going back to Anderson Ranch Reservoir, can you effectively catch the kokanee, etc., up in that reservoir from bank fishing, or do you have to be on the boat?
More people do better on the bass and stuff like that, and bluegill and things like that from the bank.
Do they?
Like I was talking to one of our staff that was up there fishing, and I mean, just because one person caught 50 doesn't mean you're going to.
Everybody's
I mean, they were out there,
and
they averaged about 8 a day, and there was 4 poles in the water. And
and the beauty of that area, and that new, what is that resort up there, Hayhurst Resort? It's a beautiful place. Beautiful place. You can go fishing and you can take a shower at night, which in your case would be a good thing.
Yeah. I just like going all natural.
Let's talk about proliferating again. So anyway, fishing is looking a lot better.
Fishing's looking really good, especially for the hills. Okay. We're actually starting to lose some of our kids' ponds right now because the moss is coming in so thick.
Yeah, early too, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it's 100 degrees.
Yeah, I know.
And that's the thing that's kicking our tails right now and one thing to watch for is blue-green algae. Blue-green algae is this algae that will start growing on stagnant ponds or in little bays in lakes. We've actually seen it up at Mormon, I think is where it was at, Mormon Reservoir already. Blue-green algae, if your dog gets in it, it'll kill them. And it gets into their lungs. And so really need to start watching that on cattle ponds and on these other settling ponds. Because
what are the indicative clues that's it? It look kind of a bluish-green color?
Algae, yeah.
That's it. Okay.
This time of year, if it's not moving, my dogs don't get in it.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it got too much time and
what
money
about human beings?
It can make you sick.
Really? Wow, that's kind of scary.
It is.
Yeah. Hey, before we run today, I did have some calls, and people said, yeah, they know it's the summertime, but a couple of guys called me and said, oh, and I forgot something, too. We've got to get on here right now. As a matter of fact, I've got to talk a little bit about that one guest. Talk about the Wolves real quick, if you would. They wanted to hear what the situation with the Wolves is.
With the Wolves
across the state of Idaho, are they at a level that's attainable and manageable, or what's going on here?
We're still struggling a little bit in the Lolo, in the Selway, in Frank Church, and these areas. These Front Range areas, wolves are in a pretty manageable state, and we've really got bulging elk populations right now. Where the elk populations, and the reason those are so controlled is, when we have depredations to wildlife, to livestock and things like that, we can go in and remove those different groups of offending wolves. But in the Frank Church and the Selway and stuff, we just don't get enough hunters in there to really have much of a harvest impact on them, and so we're still working on that. But for the most part, our elk numbers are pretty tremendous right now. We're pushing population totals of close to 110 to 120,000, which is near our all-time high on elk. Granted, the elk numbers have been displaced from where they used to all be in the Frank Church, the Selway, the Lolo, and a lot of these elk are showing up on these Front Ranges.
You're doing great. Keep talking. I'm still looking.
I think I've bored them on that now. So.
No, I tell you what, I lost some very important information that you and I are supposed to talk about.
What was it on?
Taxidermy. I can't find that sheet.
Oh.
Remember we talked about that gentleman the last time on our program?
Kim Christensen.
Yeah. and the copy is gone, and I'm looking, and you can tell that I'm in a state of disarray here, trying to find all the copy and the notes, and I'm not finding it. I know that man's going to be really upset at me. Can you ad-lib enough from memory? Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Save our bacon. Go ahead. Talk to us.
This is Kim Christensen.
Oh, you're going to get a live one real quick, Kim. You're going to get a live commercial. Tell us about your business real fast. I can't find your copy.
Well, you made me nervous because I was listening to you and it was getting close to the end of the program.
I know it is, and it's getting into everything today, but quickly tell us about what you do, why you do it, and how good you are. Brag about yourself, quickly.
Well, we've been at this for 40 years. It doesn't seem that long, but we've been at this for 40 years, and we specialize in birds and big game. Of course, during the summer season, except for animals that you can take year-round like badgers and coyotes, we're a little slow. So we've offered a special for the months of June, July, and August. There's 10% off any wildlife legally taken that's in the freezer. Sometimes these hunters put a pheasant or a duck in the freezer and forget about having it mounted. So it's 10% off during the summer if you bring a piece of wildlife into us during the summer months.
All righty. And what's the telephone number and the address real fast?
We're on what used to be the Alfresco Road. We're on 21st Street in Hayburn. And the phone number, we can get, these cell phones are wonderful. You can get a hold of anybody anytime. And give me a jingle anytime. It's 431-9789.
Boy, you saved my bacon, literally. Send me a new cheat sheet so I don't forget the next time. I can't find it in my mess here this morning. I apologize. God bless you, and thank you for your call.
All right, we'll send you a new one. Thanks.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much. Wasn't that nice of him to be listening and call in? And I'll tell you what, I'm glad he did because I could not find that copy. I want to remind you to get where you're going this summer with the best of tires for your pickup SUV, your car, your trailers, everything at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. There is nobody better. No, they are the best, and they care about the best in service to you and your safe driving. Stop in and check it out today and ask about a free pre-trip safety check. Don't forget a visual inspection of your tires, including the air pressure, wheel alignment, and tire wear to make sure you're not pulling this way or that way. Front-end components, brake components, shocks and struts, battery. They'll include a load test. I'm telling you, they care about your safe driving. When you're out playing tourists around the United States, they want you to come home safely. Don't forget all 7 locations serving you. Lane and Rupert, of course, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Are we boring you? That yawn went completely over the air. I heard every bit of it.
That's a silent yawn.
It was not a silent yawn. Okay, what are we going to talk about next month? Do you realize that next month is going to be August already?
And hunting season's open on August 1st for a lot of our elk hunts.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's here. It's here.
It's
time to get you and your dog or your horse in shape.
Yeah, well,
or all three.
Or any of the above.
Well, yeah, I just always feel bad for these horses.
Oh, they don't take care of them. I agree with you.
They've been sitting in pasture for 11 and a half months, and then they take them up to 10,000 feet, and they go...
Yeah, kind of like you just at 1,000 feet.
Yeah,
there we go.
Exactly.
Hey, listen, Kilton, I really appreciate it. Great job, Idaho Fish and Game, and we'll have them on again next month. Kelton Hatch, and thank you very much. We'll be back tomorrow morning on Zeb at the Ranch, 8:06. Ride the horse for 3 hours to 11, right here on K-Bar 1230, and streaming live all over the world on ZebBell.com. The way things were, the way things ought to be. See you tomorrow morning.